Rob, you checked it?
I did this thing. Yeah, I did that.
All right, we good to go. All right. We sent
Floor is all yours.
we sent the link to the WhatsApp yet?
I haven't. But we can do that in a second. I was gonna upload it and put it in the chat anyway, so they can either catch it now
Oh,
or
okay,
later.
okay. All right, so we are on the Down with the King SFL podcast, Down with the Kings SFL podcast, and tonight we have Q the Truth 1566 and Rob the Beastie. Now, I had a interview with Rob earlier, and I just thought about it. I was like, Prim and I did uh, the draft chat, which I thought was excellent, where we're doing commentary
I agree.
on the picks and breaking down the draft. And I said, while I'm in the party with Q and Rob, I said, why don't I just, do some interviewing? And I just had some questions for Rob, and I thought it was a very interesting interview. So what we're going to do is we're going to sort of continue that, and I'm going to have a lot of questions for Q since, he's fresh off Super Bowl. And I'll have some questions for Rob. And Rob, you can chime in anytime. Just be respectful of your conversation partner here. So one of the things I want to start with is the issue and the question of burnout. And I want to talk about that because it seems like a lot of guys are starting to slow down, and this happens every year in Madden. But what do you think? What do you both think contributes to burnout?
Well, you want to go first, or
I'll let you go first.
whatever? Well, the main thing I think that contributes to that is players losing. Or they feel like they don't have much of a chance. I mean, I don't, like me, I'm probably different because, I don't really care if I lose. I just want to play the game. So I don't really get that burnout effect. You know what I'm saying? But I think that would be most accounted to, people feeling like they don't have a shot because, it's usually the same people that are winning, and they feel that, they don't have any chance at winning, and they don't really know, what to do.
But
the things, the process to
go
get
ahead, I'm sorry. Yeah, but the one thing I like about this Madden is it's not the same people that are always winning. I mean, we have 3 different Super Bowl winners right now.
That's true.
Yeah.
But I can attest to just from previous Maddens, I can sort of attest to that. You put a lot of energy into the beginning of a season, and you have certain expectations, and for whatever reason things don't bounce the way that you had planned them to, and then there's a sense of do I want to do this all over again? Do I want to put the same amount of effort and planning all over again? Q, what are you? I mean, you're fresh off of number 7. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
You're fresh off of number 7, and talk a little bit about. I mean, you and I and Brian, we've been to a host of Super Bowls, but from your perspective, talk a little bit about that whole process of getting there, and not just getting there, but actually winning, and then the possible turnaround of getting back there. Talk a little bit about that, what goes into that, and what happens, when things actually don't go as planned, or you come up short. Talk a little bit about that.
Oh wow. Okay. It's a lot of work that goes into just making it. Batman right now. I'll be honest. The NFC isn't as strong as the AFC. I've said it. So as far as the NFC is concerned, he calls it the Q Invitational, as if I'm LeBron or something like that. But yeah,
I remember he used to call the AFC that, and that's the reason he came to the Browns. But anyway, go ahead.
it's all good. So with that, I'm basically fresh off back-to-back Super Bowl appearances, where with one we came up a little bit short, and then in the last one we actually did get the job done. Getting there and not winning is it's tough. It sucks. You never want to do that, but as I was alluding to before, a bunch of preparation goes into that. It's basically all repetition, practice, and everything, to the point, if you were to compare it to a fighting game or whatever, you want to have everything down to a T. Muscle memory, I guess, to where there are very few surprises and you're pretty much ready for everything, so that when you do get there, you know exactly what to do. You take advantage of your moment, and now you accomplish all of that, you should be able to win.
Rob, you want to chime in, because this is on the long season. You have 16 games, you have the playoffs, you get to the Super Bowl, you win or lose, and all of us here actually have been on that side of losing. Q just talked about it. This season, season one, he got there, and was it season one?
Well, it was season two.
That was season one, because Bryce. Well, okay, it was season two. Yeah, season two against Chan. Yeah. Bryce made it in season one. But yeah, and I, my when I lost the Super Bowl, I actually lost it to the guy I'm talking with right now. And
that goes both ways. I lost one to you too.
Yeah, I've lost to others. What's the guy in ACQB? Wee Man.
What?
And then
I think it was Shards.
Wee Man, because he had the Lions.
Are you going back to ACQB?
Yeah, I'm going back to ACQB. I
thought it was
Wee Man with the Lions,
yeah.
He had to hit 16.
I was saying Shards won here.
SFL, Shards. I lost to him. Let's see. I lost to you twice, I want to say.
Let me go get the records. I'm about to get the records.
Might be three. It might be three.
I don't know if it was three. Give me a second. I will.
Yeah. But what I can say is I can definitely attest to what you said in terms of you practice, you put in all the effort, and you try to make sure that all the bases are covered, and sometimes you begin to, at least for me anyway, I know the one season I had Kendall Wright at wide receiver, and I felt like I would lose to you that season, because I knew that there were some holes in my game. I knew there were, and I was just hoping that they would not be exposed. I knew they were there, and I knew they were there from a play calling standpoint, and I knew they were there from a personnel standpoint.
Right.
And I was just hoping that they would not be exposed. And most of our games have been tight. I remember the first time I played you in the Super Bowl, it came down literally to the last play on the 1 or 2 yard line, and Haloti Nada, for whatever reason, makes this game save the tackle. I believe it was Nada, and we got out of there with a victory. But
yeah, the hell
there is a sense of there is a sense of when you make it there, just like in real life. I mean, you have to cash in, because I do think it weighs on you that it didn't get done. Luckily,
Absolutely.
I would say in this cycle, that happened early early for you. So, like, if it were like season 4 or 5, and that happens, they're sort of like, uh, do we do this again, or let me see where other people are in the league and whether or not they want to continue. But Rob, I mean, you made it to a Super Bowl against the Rams last Madden, and the things they didn't work out for you. How did you feel after that? Did you want to immediately continue on, or was it a sense of, damn it, I had my shot, I'm a bit worn out on the game right now? How did you feel about that?
Well, as you may have known,
Hell, you annihilators?
I did make it to the Super. Well, it was actually, pretty much luck how I escaped out of what round was that? The wild card round, because it was like a last second play that I heaved up to Tavon Austin against Clint when he was the Broncos. We escaped out of there with a win, and we went to go face, who was that, Chan.
Yes,
and we were overconfident.
And I'll be very honest with you. I get the sense that your performance in that game, even you were a bit surprised. Maybe I don't know, because no one expected you to win that game based on the way McKinney was last year for Chan. I'll just say it that way. But you went in there, and not only did you win, I mean, it was a beatdown. Were you surprised that it ended up being that type of score?
No, because I already established that we had the answers for Chan. I was actually glad that we were actually.
Although you didn't beat him again after that with the answers, but go ahead.
We did, but we'll get back to that. But what happened was, I don't know if we played him already or we seen how he played already, but we were very confident that we could beat him. And what gave us overconfidence was the fact that we weren't playing at home and we got to play in the dome. We didn't have the elements of the wind or anything that can take control of the game. So we were very confident, and we actually we would rather have played on the road against Chan than at home. At home, I think that game goes a different way. But in the dome and the way I play offense, I like to throw the ball deep without wind affecting that. We felt like we had a great chance. But what really helped us was the fact that Giovanni Bernard,
well, he had a hell of a.
He showed out.
I agree.
Yeah. He showed out. And, we stifled Chan a little bit on defense. And we were able to, to go to the Super Bowl.
Now, I think this is a very important thing to talk about for you, because this moment for you last Madden was your very first time in an SFL Super Bowl. Okay? And you were playing at that time a player who had just been on fire from the previous Madden, and he brought it over into Madden 17. I'm your pops, and going into that Super Bowl game, how did you think about that? What was going through your mind? And then talk a little bit about what happened at the end, and then after that season, how did you feel about moving on to the next season?
Okay, so we know that we were going to be facing B in the playoffs, and we know we had we were going to have a difficult task, but we were confident, like we were against Chan, that I've played B plenty of times before, and sometimes most of our games were close. I'll be in it, sometimes he'll whip my ass, I'm not gonna lie, but I felt confident that I could beat B. You know what I'm saying? We've had plenty of close games and I've won games against him before, so it's not like it was something that was,
Shaggy?
that couldn't be done.
Right. Now, just to sort of pause right here for a second before you continue on. Do you feel confident that you can beat him now with the Browns? Because it very may well be a possibility if you take care of your business, you may have to face him in the playoffs. Do you feel confident about beating him now?
When I did play him, the last time I played him, which he did have the Browns, it was a close game. It wasn't, anything that I would feel like, well, I couldn't beat him, because I don't know how Kaiser is now, but Kaiser wasn't, Kaiser was, he was not as accurate or not as good. How he is now, I'm not too sure. But, I'm confident that, if we go against them, we could get some things done. We could make a few plays. I'm confident in my team,
Okay. We'll go back to the when you were the Bengals owner. You're facing the Rams in the Super Bowl. It's a tight game. He gets the lead towards the end of the game, and things just do not unfold for you the way that you would have wanted them to. And talk about that loss and the SFL for you after that. Was there a sense of burnout for you, or?
Wasn't necessarily a sense of burnout. It was that I felt like, we were right there, and I have one of the best receivers in the fucking game, and he let us down. Our best player on the team let us down.
AJ Green.
In that very moment. AJ Green, and we he let us down pretty bad. You know what I'm saying? I can live with a drop pass, but he was open. He drops the pass. He's a clutch player, and it gets picked off, and that's essentially the game. And after that, we made a business decision. He was getting older. Kind of cost us the Super Bowl. He kind of cost us the Super Bowl. Well, he did. I'm not gonna say he cost us the Super Bowl, and I released him. He deserved it. He needed to be released. He did. We needed a fresh start. We needed, some fresh people.
And what happened? See, this is what I'm sort of after. And what happened for you after that season? I believe you opened up your next season against Chan in Texas, and you lose by 1 point, even though you had the answers.
We did lose by. It took a miracle play by DeAndre Hopkins for him to, to win that game. He was, we were handling business. It just, the last play of the game, he had no timeouts. I believe he had a quarterback tackle.
This is correct. I remember it.
And
and then and so you lose that game, and your career with the Bengals, after that season, it was over. You ended up moving on to Tampa Bay.
Yes.
And I cannot remember, but you didn't make the playoffs with the Bengals after that Super Bowl loss.
I don't think we made it the first year. I'm not sure we made it the first year. I believe we made it the second year. The second year we went to the NFC title game, which we were up by a lot.
Right. Well, but I'm talking about the Bengals. Right? And so after your Super Bowl with the Bengals, you came back with the Bengals and you did not make the playoffs.
That's accurate.
I believe we didn't make the playoffs.
No, you just missed
I
out.
thought I lost the coins.
You didn't make
the first round.
You didn't make the playoffs, and then
I lost the coins in the first round, did I?
Oh, nah. I don't think so.
I don't think so. Yeah. And then
what season was that when he injured AJ Green? That was then it wasn't that. It had to be another season.
It had to be a season.
And then you end up transitioning to Tampa Bay. Now the reason why I'm bringing this up is that it takes a lot to make it to an SFL championship. And you know, a team can make it to the championship, and turning around and making it back to another championship. I mean, it takes a lot. And do you think, Rob, Q, do you think that we have a cast of owners who are, now not counting Q, not counting yourself, okay? Do you think we have a cast of owners who are able to do that? Because back in the early days of the SFL, you had the cast of owners who were always going to be there. It was going to be Q, it was going to be AC, it was going to be me, and it was going to be B. I remember some of those Jets teams that he had that were crazy. Before he got kicked out, it was going to be Jeweler, Belagachi, it was going to be Doug. And then there'll be a couple of fringe people in here. So we knew the cast of characters, and people back then, it wouldn't be a thing to make it back to back. Not that you would win back to back, but it wouldn't be a thing. Do we have a cast of owners now, or is the competition so great that it's not really possible to make it back to back?
I'll let Rob go first. This should be interesting.
I think it's more possible to make it back to back in this matter, because there's a lot of players that they're not. I would say they're more like me. They play the game. They don't really know how to build the team. So they're just, it's the people that know how to actually build a team. They're gonna keep winning, because there's a plethora of us that don't know how to really build a team. We think we know how to build a team, but when you go against those teams that are really built, then you find out that the things that you're doing wrong, and why certain things are not happening for you. And I think it just becomes much easier because some people, after they take a loss, they don't really want to play anymore. Or one bad thing happens in a game, and they don't really have that same confidence, and they kind of quit.
What about you, Q? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you can go.
Okay. Q, what about you? What are your?
As far as the NFC is concerned, being honest assessment, if I'm not here, the only person that I could see making like consecutive Super Bowls would probably be Seattle. I don't really have to specify why. I think I'm the only obstacle in his way. As far as outside of that, like,
now, let me sort of bring a little pause to that for a second. Not pause in terms of you being paused.
I got you.
A moment of reflection here. So you said that you think you see yourself as being that obstacle for Seattle, and we've all had that obstacle. I remember back in the early days of the SFL, for me it was Jeweler, right, and getting over the routes. And in the ACQB, for a while there, it was Creatine Casey.
Right.
And however I got over that. Given, and I say this in all honesty, not to sort of boast ego, but given everything that you do offensively, in which I would say you're as far as our SFL history, the most prolific passer in our SFL history. Given everything that you do offensively, how does Seattle get over the hump?
Wow. I wanted to be an asshole and say I probably would have to die. He would have to call. Not even necessarily a perfect game. We all make mistakes, but it would have to be a clean game. He himself would have to make better reads. I think that's the number one thing that's holding him back. If he can kind of clean up his reads, a team can go toe-to-toe with anybody. Especially, it doesn't hurt that like 50% of the starters on defense are clutch. Quarterback is clutch. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It can't hurt you. Yeah, for him, he would have to clean up his reads in the pass game. I know he got his new superstar running back, and he's like driving him like a new Corvette and everything like that. But yeah, he would have to. It would be that. That would be it. He would have to clean up his
Clean up the
passing.
reads.
Yeah, because I just saw a game where I think he threw a little earlier this season, but he threw 6 picks to Gabe. And he was kind of down on his health. And then I turned right around the next week, and Gabe loses the Spawn. But 2 weeks prior, Seattle stomped Spawn out by 50. So, you know what I mean? It's just one of those things. He would have to clean the reads up to get over the hump. AFC, it's like 6 or 7 people, man. Just God honest truth. Potential. I mean, well, you've done it before, so you obviously B. He's done it before. Chan, obviously. Chan is one of, I think, 4 people that have at least 3 titles. Shit, really, it's a litany of people right now. You could even throw Clint in there as well. It's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot of people over there, and they all got to kill each other to get there.
Now you mentioned Clint, right?
Okay.
And he's had the Broncos. He had a really good team with the Broncos, and he was a pretty tough opponent. Now he has a coach. He sort of built that team, and he made it to the Super Bowl.
Right.
And when you look at the AFC, do you see Clint as that owner that is on the verge, and he is the next owner in the SFL to get that championship? I mean, when we look at this particular Madden cycle, Austin was the one with the Patriots, and he finally made it, and he got him a championship with the Patriots. So he finally broke through that being right there on the verge. Do you see Clint as that next owner that can break through that? Given the way the AFC is structured.
So, all right. So we're basically, what owners in the AFC who have not won a championship yet have the best chance to actually get one? That's what I'm understanding, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. It would have to be him. I can't really see it being anybody else right now, because the majority of the competition over there, they all have their titles already. Even like you said, Austin. I think outside of that, who is on the cusp, I guess, in the AFC of being better or being mentioned amongst the elite. Honestly, it's sad to say. It's not really sad to say, but he still has to clean up a few things. But I think the guy in the AFC with the most potential is probably Austin, just from where he started out last year. And he was getting absolutely destroyed.
With
Tampa.
With the Buccaneers.
Yeah. To getting, I mean, granted, he had the best team in the game or whatever, but he ain't looking too shabby right now. I mean, he likes to trade and everything like that, but He's in contention right now. But yeah, as far as the guys that don't have any titles, Clint would probably be the next man up to potentially get a title. But like I said, the AFC right now is the Wild Wild West. So I don't know who the hell's coming out of the AFC right now.
No, okay, so the AFC is the Wild Wild West. And Rob, since he's on the show with us and he's made a claim that he's back, he's gonna, this is the season where Rob is made great again, to steal a line from another dummy. Given that the AFC is the Wild Wild West, does Rob actually bring his promise to fulfillment? Does he make it?
That's something you would have to ask Rob. I know Rob's answer because I can create the screenshots to prove it. Rob is going to the Super Bowl.
Rob.
Yes, sir.
Tell us about your rise to stardom. You're going to make it to the playoffs.
Yes, we're going to make it to the playoffs. We had no choice but to make it to the playoffs.
Given that, the AFC is composed of the Browns, the Bengals, the Chiefs, the Texans, the Patriots,
Jets, Bills,
Jets,
list goes on
Jets,
and on.
the Bills, and you've struggled this Madden cycle.
Oh, and the Raiders. Sorry.
And the Raiders, you've struggled this Madden cycle, but this is your season. What gives you the confidence to say that this is your season? That it's sort of like you're the one person running around with the briefcase and the money in the bank, and this is your time to cash in. What gives you the confidence to say that?
Well, because I know I'm more focused than I was, in these past seasons. The past seasons, I wouldn't say I wasn't taking the game seriously, but I wasn't paying attention to my team. Is what I would say, and what I needed to do to make this team better. And I kind of, figured some things out midway through season 3. Was it season 3? No, it may be at the end of season 2. I figured some things out, and I used season 3 to kind of build on that. So season 4 that we could be in a position to compete at a higher level than we did the previous seasons.
Yeah. And so okay, I asked you a question prior to the podcast going live. I want to revisit that question. So you figured out some things in halfway through season 3 to make yourself more competitive for this season. And in the previous interview, I asked you whether or not that when it comes to bringing talent onto your team, whether or not that you had a player DNA prototype or DNA type that you want on your team. And you said you just draft players. But then now you're saying that you figured out some things halfway through season 3 to make yourself more competitive. And you drafted certain players. Tell me a little bit about why you took Bernadette at pick number 3 over Roth and the halfback that Matt took for Seattle. Why Bernadette? And you're thinking about competing and getting this team over the hump. Why did you take him rather than Roth and the back in Seattle right now? Why Bernadette?
Well, at the time we had McKinnon, and I felt like Lee Roth was, from what I was looking at, was of similar build to McKinnon, and I already had a McKinnon. I didn't want two McKinnons on my team, so I decided, I'll go with a power back, to kind of mix things up,
Yeah.
and that's the approach we took, and it's helped us. It's helped us out this season. I can have McKinnon, play on the outside, and then when we get down to the red zone, I'll let Bird, whatever the hell his name is, he has earned the right for me to get his name correctly, but he can, punch us, take us home.
Okay,
and he's been doing a great job of that.
Okay, so let me ask this question, and Q, if you want to chime in on this too. Back in the draft, when you took Bernadette at 3, I'll be honest with you, I was ecstatic because I knew what that meant for me. But as I was sitting there analyzing it, my thought process was you took a goal line back with the number 3 pick in the first round of the draft and not an every down back. And basically sort of confirming what you just said. As an owner, that you used the number 3 pick in the draft on a guy who's somewhat limited at this point.
Well, I had confidence that no matter what, McKinnon could get the job he's shown previous. So I want to continue to prove what I needed at the time. I more so needed a running back. It didn't have to be necessarily every down back. Just a back that could do what I needed him to do when I needed him to do it.
I mean, and,
maybe with the number 3 pick, of course you might say that's high, but that's what I needed, and I wanted to make sure that I addressed that need first.
Don't you get a sense that the value just wasn't there for that particular player, and if you could have traded down, would you have traded down and taken him later? Do you think you just sort of reached mightily at number 3? I mean,
I think we did reach, but I think he has potential to be an every down back. It's probably not now. I didn't expect him. I didn't want him to. I didn't expect him to be right out the gate. Just this great player. I wanted him to build that over time. If he was that out of the gate, then cool. That's great. But I still always had plans for McKinnon to be a running back that was gonna lead the team. That will take us down the field, and
so basically, if I'm hearing this straight, if I'm hearing this correctly, with the number 3 pick in the draft, you took a backup running back.
I took a running back. I took a running back that could potentially start, but I didn't need him to start right now, based on what McKinnon did.
And let me just, because I'm just sort of trying to work this out here. And so let's just talk about the top 5. Let's talk about the top 5. And Q, you can chime in here too. Let me just ask you, Q, you have a top 5 pick, right?
Right.
When you're taking a pick in the top 5, what are you trying to get with that pick? What are you expecting out of that pick?
Someone to be a cornerstone for your franchise for at least the next 5 to 7 years. Looking for somebody that's going to change something significantly for your organization. It doesn't matter if it's offense or defense. Damn sure shouldn't be looking for no backup with a top 5 pick. That's lunacy. Should be getting the most bang for your buck, so to speak, there.
So, I mean, Rob, that was just a question that I had during the draft. Now, of course, we can't see overalls, but we can see combine and things like that. What was it about Jimmy Bernadette that you said, I have to take this guy at number 3? Because when we looked at his 40, it was like a 4.68. We looked at the 3-cone. He was like 21st with the 3-cone and about 24th in the shuttle. What was it about him that you said, I have to take this guy with the number 3 pick in the first round? Admittedly, now that he is regulated to a goal line running back, and then how does this make your team more competitive?
How does this make my team more competitive? Is he's able. It's not only a goal line back. He's my running back that could run in between the tackles. McKinnon, he struggles to do that. So it's not necessarily that he's just a goal line back. McKinnon, he excels mostly on the outside. In between the tackles, he's not that great. So I wanted to be able to, mix it up with my running backs. I felt like Lee Roth was, a McKinnon of the McKinnon ilk, and I felt like I would have had the same 2 running backs on my team, and I felt like that would have been more waste of a pick than anything.
Okay, and I'm looking at the stats right now, and Jimmy Bernadette, he has 74 carries, which is actually kind of a lot, and he has 6 touchdowns. 6, which he has 74 carries for 381 yards, 6 touchdowns. You've certainly been using him down around the goal line. How did you? Let me just ask you this, because I had some harsh comments about the pick. What did you think about my comments about the pick?
What exactly were your comments about the pick?
Well, remember my comments were you fell in love with a prototype, and you fell in love with the prototype, and the truck. You fell in love with the prototype, and that you think you're going to be trucking, and you basically took a goal line back with the number 3 pick in the draft. And I thought it was a horrible value.
That could be true, but then, I look at it as, later in the rounds, we actually got a superstar safety on our team that's actually making a great impact on our team. So that kind of, negated that pick.
In my draft analysis, that's the one thing I said. I said that you sort of made up for it with that 2nd round pick and that safety, which I thought was a great pick. But I just felt like Jimmy Bernadette was overdrafted. Especially given, let me just say this, especially given players like who have been renamed. Smash Williams for the Patriots was taken in the 4th round. And Smash Williams is a back that has quick development. And he's not the same type of back as McKinnon. Neither is he the same type of back as Bernadette. But he is a different type of back. And so I felt like with the depth at running back in the draft, Bernadette was severely overdrafted.
You could say that. I felt that way at first, but I feel like based on how he's playing this season and what he's doing, that he's making it more of making it seem more worth it than as when previously done. Because I would think I would have the same concerns that you had when I actually seen him and what he was. But then we actually got into some games and he did the things that I needed him to do when it counted, and that's what he was picked for.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna move on from this because I have a couple of more questions that I want to ask, and one of the questions both of you can answer. and the other one is primarily directed for Q the Truth. So let me do the one question for both of you first. When you look at the SFL and your history in the SFL, what are, let's just, I had top 5, but I'm going to do top 3. What are the top 3 toughest teams that you faced, and why are these the top 3 toughest teams that you faced?
We're talking about like all time?
All time.
Ooh. Man, all right.
I mean, I'll give you one of mine. One of the toughest teams I ever faced was, and this was actually a Super Bowl loss, but one of the toughest teams I ever faced was the Redskins, AC's Art, Robert Griffin III as quarterback.
Black Jesus.
The Madden, the Madden with the read option as the feature. I think that was one of the most difficult teams I've ever faced.
Why is that?
And it was difficult. And it was difficult because that year the read option was actually the feature, and it was pretty difficult to defend. Not impossible to defend, but it was pretty difficult to defend. But when you combined RG3 with that and the receivers he had, plus the big nickel defense that was in the game that they've taken out of the game since. But that was, the big nickel was his base defense, and there was a particular alignment in that big nickel that it was tough. It was a tough defense to crack too. I think that year,
glad you remember.
AC had the complete team offensively and defensively. And that year you could tell he put a lot of work into read option, into the veer, and it was just a fucking bitch to defend. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, I met him in the NFC Championship game that year. He had that undefeated season.
Mm-hmm.
I could definitely include those Redskins. I hated them. And then I remember the game. He actually uploaded the game maybe about 4 or 5 months ago on his YouTube channel. I was able to watch it again.
Mm-hmm.
I played like crap.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at it like from here, but yeah, I would say that team. Madden 11. When Brian had the Jets at that absolute fucking pinnacle. That team was absolutely ridiculous. And I would either say your team from Madden 12 or Dub's Eagles from Madden 13.
Yeah, that was a tough team. The Eagles team, that was a tough team. Couldn't stop the run.
Hey, I've been fortunate enough to be around a little bit long enough to have shit you couldn't comprehend go wrong in the final seconds of championship games. One was recently versus Bryce, and the other one was versus that Eagles team. And I scouted that Eagles team down to, I knew what them motherfuckers had for breakfast, man. Yeah. And I was prepared for a war. We went to war. And I had these niggas dead with 2 seconds left.
Yeah, you know what? I think that was another Super Bowl loss for me too.
I'm gonna bring the list back up in a second. I'll go through that. And
it was either the Eagles or the 49ers when he had one of them. I lost to him.
It might have been I don't remember. I'll check in a second.
Okay.
But yeah, I ended up losing Yeah, it's either your 12, your team from 12, or his team from 13.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking pissed
You're
me
right.
off. And all of those games I lose at the end too, except for the
At the end. At
Redskins.
the end. Yeah. Yeah. At
Except
the
for
end.
the
Yeah.
Redskins.
Except for the Redskins. Yep. Yep. Except
And
for the Redskins.
I played one game against. Well, I played a few games against them Jets, but that was like the only time I was like literally on the verge of being shut out, like not scoring a fucking
Yeah.
point. But I ended up scoring, I think, midway through the fourth. I scored 7, and that was it. And I didn't lose by much, but it was just the fact that motherfuckers was everywhere, stifling.
Everywhere. Yeah. Now, Rob. I mean, you've been around for a while, but not as long as me and Q. But you've been around for a while. Top 3 teams you face and why?
Top 3 teams.
Yes.
Well, one would have to be, these vaunted Falcons that I have to face every once in a while. They're just, for some reason, they're just everywhere, and it's hard to find the opening. And when you do, it'll be closed sooner or later. And that's the team that I have the most trouble against, because Quan knows a lot. He actually studies
This
these
is
type
not
of
my
things.
damn name.
He's always in the film room, studying. So he knows what you're gonna do, and he's just waiting for you to, he'll let you, dibble and dab on what you want to do, and then
Yeah, take your mesh.
when it's time, to actually shut it down, he will. And another team which I got fucking destroyed by. That was actually one of the first times where I actually lost by a lot. Was Tombstone in the fucking Raiders, where he scored damn near 70 points on me.
I lost the Super Bowl to Tombstone and them Raiders too. Oh bitch.
I remember that because you had the Eagles. You had the Eagles at that point.
Yeah, and yeah. And the crazy thing was, I've never lost by more than 10 points in this game.
Yeah.
And I was losing really bad. He scored. He scored about 60 something, and there was a lot more time left. I think my connection had went out or whatever.
Yeah. Did you not to cut you off from the third one, but did you want to quit Madden after that?
Did I would have quit? No, I didn't want to quit, but I was like, God damn, I should have never said that. I've never been beaten by that many points, because the very next game, he definitely dropped 60 plus points on me. Yeah, probably like 66 or 62 with a lot more time left. And it was getting really bad.
Yeah, he scored about 60 on me in our Super Bowl. And then I had to hear all of them fucking messages about the Raider coach. I can't think of his name right now. And how he was going to pillage the lands and all of this other bullshit, man.
Something about, what was it, Trent Steele or something like
that. That's who it was. Trent Steele. Coming to pillage the lands, steal women and all this. He got all in this fucking character. And it worked for him. Matter of fact, when I see to him, I'm going to tell him I hate him for that shit. But yeah.
And Rob, your third. Who would be your third toughest?
Third toughest. Trying to see. Actually, it would have to be last year playing AC. It would have to be AC, and the fact that Tyreek Hill was just so godly, and then he had Cordell Patterson and Ezekiel Elliott, Cordero, whatever the fuck his name is, and
the Justice League last year.
Defensively, his corners were just my wide receivers couldn't get off the line, and my my lineman was kind of shitty, so it was just it was a struggle for me, because you're waiting for a wide receiver to get open, and you look and they're still on the line, and then you're just flat on the floor. So that was like one
Yeah.
of the toughest teams right there.
Okay. Okay. Now this last question is primarily for Q, but Rob, if you want to chime in, you can. Um, one of the things that is
What?
pertinent for being a great man and player
Hmm?
is being able
No.
to defend yourself. Being able to defend yourself. And I think when it comes to Madden, for instance, a lot of those players don't really go that extra mile to say, okay, I am bringing this into my offense or I'm doing this on my defense. How would I defend myself? So, cue the truth. 7 Super Bowls. I'm your pops. 7 SFL titles. Cue the truth. Perhaps and I don't even think it's a question, the most prolific passer in SFL history. Rob, I know you like to pass, but so Q,
I'm here.
your offense. When you look at your offense and you do a bunch of different things, that's why I don't like facing the Falcons, but but it's a challenge that I like the challenge. But then when you're in the game, it's sort of like, well, what's he gonna do next? So,
Right.
when you look at your offense and everything you do in the passing game, now I'm not asking you for a blueprint.
I
But
understand.
what would you do against something like that defensively? Basically
Okay.
how would you begin to think about defending yourself?
This is kind of arrogant. Okay. So I hate to fucking quote this nigga. All right. To quote Brady, who I hate, it's what's the point of making me take the test if basically I already have all of the answers to the test?
Mm-hmm.
What I enjoy now is not like, if you see, I don't pass a lot, but I still get the yards, so it's cool.
Right.
I've seen everything. I've seen people back there, secondary up 200 yards. I know that's not real, but you understand what I'm saying. Seeing press man, and I've seen people baseline shit that looks stupid, but
and none of that seems to phase you at all. You're just like, hey, whatever you're doing, I'm gonna do what I do, and we're still gonna do what we do. So,
you'll either have to confuse me somehow, or make me hold on to the football, and that's why I enjoyed playing AC so much. It presented a different challenge because I know, like, I call most people sheep because, like, Chan created a wave and a lot of people followed it or whatever, but you can kind of tell who has their own mind. So I already knew.
Just to sort of pause right there for a second.
Right.
Chan was so great with McKinney, and then after that, everybody had to have their fast person in the middle to try to shut down the middle. But what people overlook is you were already doing that with Deion Jones as well.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't need any recognition. I'm fine where I'm at. But at least you're paying attention. I was doing that with the same season that I guess I'm about to give away some game. But same season that Chan started out with McKinney, I started out with Jones. It just so happened that I wasn't just sitting back there collecting the interceptions because McKinney didn't make the Pro Bowl for that. I was getting the interceptions, but I was getting tackles for loss. I was blitzing. I think I had like 7 or 8 QB tackles. So Deion Jones ended up getting, I think, Rookie of the Year. He made the Pro Bowl. I'm not sure if he was Player of the Year or whatever, but when the awards kept rolling in, he ended up getting like 80,000, and then it was an award he got, but they didn't give him the points for, which I cried over. But I didn't get him, so whatever. I built Deion Jones up with all of that XP, and then I went to control somebody else. Like if you have a person and you get all of these awards and you get all this XP and you build him up to be something incredible, what the hell are you still using him for? Use somebody else who's less fortunate and do the same thing with them.
And build them
over
up.
time,
You can,
you got a myriad of fucking options. Exactly. So that was pretty much what I did. I did that 1 year with Deion Jones, and I moved on. And Chance stayed with McKinney, and I guess that's how you got the legend of McKinney or whatever. But if you're gonna build a team, sticking with one player for 3 or 4 seasons, that's not helping the rest of the team.
Yeah.
So. Oh, so back to what I was saying with bats. I knew I was going to get a myriad of different looks. I knew I was going to see press man. Nobody really presses in the league. And it's baffling because you got all of these receivers in the league, and everybody loves to throw to their receivers and whatnot. But all of their press is somewhere, or their release, is somewhere in between like 65 and 85. So when you get a superior corner with high press and they get stymied, you wonder why. So I knew it was going to be a challenge because my receivers were going to be pressed. He matches personnel, I'm not going to be in 10 personnel and he's in fucking 34 odd because that's what people do, it's going to be a fucking, lack of a better term, any game that I can play against anybody and I know it's going to be a chess match, I enjoy it. So when I'm playing you, LB, I enjoy it. When I play AC, I enjoy it. When I'm playing B, I enjoy it. And it's not like I'm just naming the old people or older people or the elder statesmen. People have been here long enough to kind of, football. And not this works, not to say this, but, Ray Weather says this works. So let me incorporate that. You know what I mean? You get a personnel grouping. You find something to combat that to the best of your ability and still trying to be cognizant of the run, of the pass, and just from what you have studied or have tendencies that you've noticed, what does he like to do here? And try and handicap said person and make them box southpaw, but still having to have the wherewithal to expect the unexpected. Yeah. So I enjoy those
speaking
games.
of that, so when you played AC, let's talk about that for a second.
Okay.
I look at his roster and it makes me nervous. And Rob, you played AC, and when you look at his roster and you see Hill, you see Tariq Hill, and you see the speed. What goes through your mind when you see something like that? It might not just be his team, because Q, you have Montgomery, and Rob, you played Q, and you had to face Montgomery. When you look at a person's roster and you see something like that, what goes through your mind defensively? Do you stop and say, I'm going to have to do something different this game, or do you just simply say, I'm going to go with the plan as usual? What goes through your mind when you see something like that and you have to sort of contend with something like that?
Well, when I seen that, I knew that I had nobody to match Tyreek Hill's speed. So my best bet was at least try to stop it, get somebody back there far enough and get pressure on the quarterback. So that the throws are either underthrown or he can't get the throw off. And that's what I did, and I got lucky a couple of times that the quarterback overthrew Tyreek Hill for some odd reason. But things happen that's how we were able to be successful in our last game, where the quarterback and wide receiver had a couple of miscues that were potentially 7 points, 6 points or whatever. But we got pressure there to hurry the throw up by a little millisecond, which helped us in the end.
Yeah, yeah. I think Hill. I mean, Rob, you have to face the Raiders twice, so we're talking about Amari Cooper as well. And Q, you faced the Raiders, and that's your only loss this season is to the Raiders.
Right.
What goes through your mind when you're facing those type of receivers? I mean, you face Hill and Cooper at this point. Both of you have faced. Well, Rob, you haven't faced Cooper this season yet, but you will. And so against Hill, Rob, you said you want to try to affect the quarterback and you want to try to make him hold on to the football. Q, when you face Hill and when you face Cooper, what were you thinking about defensively that sort of said, does this guy make me nervous? Am I going to have to do something different? What was going through your mind there when you see a player like that? And here's the other part. So you have a player like that in the pass game, but when you're playing LBzRule, you have to be able to stop the run.
Right.
You get ready to hang it up.
If you're playing the Chiefs and you don't stop the run, nothing's more debilitating than not being able to stop the run.
Not being able to stop the run, exactly. Yeah.
That shit is terrible. But I was prepared for Zeke. Hill. See, here's the beautiful part about the game with AC. I'm not worried about him audibling late and crossing up zones or anything like that, and I'm not trying to throw shade or whatever. You know you're in for a fight. So with my game against AC, my first check was to be able to make sure we got enough in the box to stop the run. We don't want Z getting free, and then he still got free for a touchdown run anyway. So you win some, you lose some there. But the game with the Chiefs was like the only game, like I think maybe since season 1, or maybe even the cycle, I'd have to go back and check, where I was able to implement combo coverages. So, and not only do we match personnel, but we go into the games and we match our corners the same way. And with Hill, I wasn't necessarily worried about Hill getting over the top. I mean, there were plays where I myself was controlling the free safety. I mean, I control a lot of people now, outside linebackers, middle linebackers, slot corners, both safeties, whatever. But
and just to sort of pause right here, I am actually starting to discover the freedom and fun in doing that. I have some plays where I'm middle linebacker, outside linebacker. And I just came up with something here that maybe I'll use. I don't know. But I play in the secondary. It's a lot of fun to be able to move around, and you sort of get a lot more feeling of freedom on your team when you do that.
Right. Anything that makes you uncomfortable, you probably should try. And in the long run, it'll make you a better player. So I was able to implement combo coverages versus AC, and it worked out. And I was able to match my fastest corner against Hill, and I had, from the time I played Goins in the preseason till that game, he had grown leaps and bounds. So pretty much kept Hill in check, I think, until maybe fourth quarter with about 5 minutes left. Started running like some in-breaking routes where he was able to garner a little bit of separation. But that's how we kept him in check. He ended up getting, I think, about 100 yards. But prior to that, he wasn't doing much. Cooper, Mike is a different person now. You don't really have to worry about him throwing to Cooper per se. That's not his offense anymore. He wants to run like ISOs. And surprisingly, now that he has his TE, he might throw down the field to the TE. But everything is crossers, slants, overs. You might get a little bit of mesh with it, But I don't know. They play completely different. I mean, I still matched personnel or whatever. Cooper ended up scoring, but Cooper ended up scoring, I think, with like 2 minutes left in the game. But then again, yeah, you never know because Mike wasn't really taking shots down the field either, though. So
yeah. So one of the things I just sort of heard in that conversation is that combo coverage, and I like that you mentioned that because we're in season 4 now. And it's gotten easier, again, I've been around the SFL for a long time. Anybody that's watched my games know that I am not a prolific passer. I try to run the ball a lot. But it's gotten easier in these 4 seasons because most people are actually not using combo coverages. And
it's beautiful.
And
Professor, what is the fuck is a combo coverage? For those of us that don't know.
We'll talk about that in a second, but let me just sort of say something here that I'm hoping that will actually light a fire under some people. In that most people are not using combo coverages, and the one thing I can say is, I'm not a prolific passer, but the one thing I do notice is that people turn to certain defenses at particular points, and people have looked at the tape enough to know when you're going to do that. And if you think that every 3rd and long cover 4 is going to save you, you need to get out of that habit right now, because people have looked at the tape enough. They know when you're going to run cover 4, and they know how to beat it. So cover 4 is not a savior defense. It's a good thing to run if you think an opponent is going to run the ball, because you got your safeties in a run fit. But if you think that you're going to get saved on 3rd and long, 2nd and long, so on and so forth, just because you run this cover 4 and you look up and somebody's either throwing it over the top of your defense or they beat your defense on the perimeter, and you're saying, but I'm running cover 4. Yeah, and cover 4 has weaknesses. And you're being very predictable in running it when you always run it. Combo coverages are actually one thing that could give people a lot of trouble, because you really can't identify what you're looking at. I mean, you hike the ball, you have a preconceived notion based on the shell. You think that it's cover 1, and it might be cover 1 on one side, but a player might take the other side and make it quarter halves, cover 2 zone, what have you. So if you have a crossing route and you like to run mesh, this is another very popular concept that people like to run. If you run mesh into a combo coverage, then if you do not throw the drag route before he enters into traffic, now if your wide receiver does not have high catch in traffic, guess what? You throw it, he's going to drop the football.
Every time.
Again, we're in season 4 now. People have looked at the film. It's not like we don't know some things that and some tendencies. But combo coverages, I think, would actually do a lot to revitalize interest in the game. I actually, like I said, I came up with a couple of them the other day. I said, oh, this is pretty cool. So I have an opportunity to run it. And I'm going to run it, but right now I'm sort of still tweaking things. But yeah, I'm glad you talked about combo coverages. So Rob, did they answer your question about combo coverages?
Probably not.
I mean,
I understand somewhat.
Yeah, you can look at a coverage like cover 6, for example, right? Cover 6 is really a combo coverage. You have 2 deep on one side and quarter halves on the other side. That's the combo coverage.
He has no clue what you're talking about.
I know what the fuck he's talking about now. I just don't.
But you can sort of get a bit.
I'll end up fucking it up, so I'm not gonna even dive into stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, the great thing about the game this year is you could take a man coverage like cover 1, cover 2 man, and you can basically man up. One side, you can have one side manned up, and then you can have the other side zoned up. That's one of the great things about the game this year is you can do that. Um, and even with certain coverages that are just zone coverages, you can, change some zones here or there, um, depending on what you want to do. I mean, I just think there's a lot still left under the hood that is not being used, and that's to me part of the burnout. It's sort of just like playing another game that a fighting game, for instance, that you've been playing for however long, and now all of a sudden you're like, well, I've mastered these fighters. They ain't releasing nothing else. I'm still gonna play it, but I don't have the enthusiasm that I had before.
Right.
But in Madden, there's a lot still that people haven't uncovered, and you can see it in the play calling, and you see it on film. So I implore people to not give up, and I do get the burnout, but I implore people to not give up and actually get out there and be creative and come up with their own stuff. That's one of the things that they gave us this year. Those are all my questions. Do you guys have any things that you want to sort of put out there for owners in the league to sort of just build the culture back up and get us past this hump?
I'll let Rob go first.
You go first. I went first last time.
Sound like a moany, whiny bitch.
Fuck up.
It'd be a lot more helpful, or it would make everything a lot more fun if everybody didn't take losing so tough. I know it sucks. It's probably the worst feeling in the world. I've been fortunate enough to play people, and they lose, and then they post that they're on suicide watch and things like that. But I get it. You losing zaps or saps your interest.
Yeah.
Everybody can't win. Clearly, it's only a handful of teams that are even going to make the playoffs, and the other 2/3 of the league basically watching the tournament from afar. The way we started off was cool. A lot of activity. I had owners come, reach out and say that they hated it, but they, now they understand, and it worked out for the best or whatever. But it's usually around season 4 where it starts to die down. I think that's where we are right now. I know there's a few owners in the league that are dealing with like personal matters right now that should be back in the near future, so things should pick up some. I have also told, I know one owner is probably going to be done when season 4 concludes, maybe 2, but to my knowledge, everybody else will still be around. And as I always say, if the majority is around and everybody still wants to run, we can run. So season 5 is all but greenlit right now. So after season 5, we don't know. We usually run 4 to 5 seasons anyway, depending on interest and everything like that. So 5 looks like it's gonna happen, and when 5 ends, it'll probably be sometime in April. And
the thing with five is that is right about the point where we started getting information on the new Madden. Yep. And then once we hear stuff and then we begin to see stuff, we look back at the old and say, I don't want to play that no more. I'm ready for the new one. So
and then you get the NFL draft at the same time.
Then you get the draft, right?
Yep. Right. Yeah. Right. So it's all of that. But that's pretty much where we are right now. I'll let Rob speak if he can even formulate a thought, and then I'll come right back and I'll give you like the Super Bowl stuff that I brought up.
All right.
And then you can be done after that if you want.
Yeah.
What is your question, sweetheart?
Oh my God! And pause.
were you talking to somebody in the room? Because you ain't talking to me like that.
I think his daughter's next door because that was crazy.
Yeah, you got to be, because nigga, you ain't talking. You ain't talking to me like that.
That's crazy.
No, so the question was, about untapped things in Madden that would actually continue the interest, and what do you have that would actually help owners be more interested at this point, Rob?
Well, I think what'll help actually other owners is that maybe some of the owners that are like you 7-time champions, give give some of the owners that are not that good like some knowledge, like help them out a little bit on things they need to fix, or get better at, to at least they can get up there and work on, so they don't feel like they just a lost cause, or they just here just to be a fucking doormat, so they can at least try to work on the things that to compete for championships, and it'll make the whole league better, that it's not the same couple of people that are competing for Super Bowls and stuff. Give some players, like, yeah, it don't have to be much, but help them out on certain things.
Anybody, well, let me not say anybody. Most people that ask for help. Let me start off by saying the dojo is closed. But if you ask for help, or tidbits or whatever, I help. I'll offer expertise if I have it, and and I've given people, a bunch of information, but people don't want to put the work in either. Like if I give you the information, and then from that point on, if you have the information and you do nothing with it, then that's on you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I can't get to everybody at the same time, but if you're looking for a coach, Matt is there. Matt is running the dojo. Matt is trying to help people because he himself has gotten better this cycle. So if you ask for help, and I get asked a lot, and I'm not to be arrogant or anything like that, but if you ask and I know, I'm definitely going to help you. It's that simple. Rob, not so much, because he talks too much shit.
Yeah.
Rob is gonna whoop my ass every time he's playing me. Rob going to the Super Bowl, all this other stuff. So,
well, listen, man, I'm gonna say that regardless, whether
if
it's
he makes
true or
it,
not.
I
Part
accept
of my,
PayPal.
what makes me actually.
I'm gonna need you to pay for my next Madden in order for me to lose to you. Otherwise,
no, I just want the Eagles. You can have the next Madden. Just give me the Eagles.
Oh yeah. Nah, we're dealing with you saying you're going to the Super Bowl right now. You don't care about a championship. You just want Philly.
Yeah. I'm gonna get a championship, but
I can't tell. Anyway, it doesn't matter. All right.
It should matter because it's gonna be against you.
Not okay. Well, you never know. It might be against Matt, man. Maybe he's watching this or listening to this.
So all of the owners in the AFC, you hear Rob saying that he's going to be the one to make it. Austin.
I don't know what to say.
Jimmy.
I've got screenshots
Mike,
that says this. Somebody from the AFC is going back to see me. Rob is going to see me. Austin has said he's meeting me.
Rob is saying he beating all y'all and he going to the Super Bowl. He said,
Don't forget, that Flukester at 7-1 or 6-1, whatever his record is. You know what I'm saying? He's the reason.
Who is that?
He knows who he is.
It's a lot of.
Let him know he's gonna get his ass whipped too. You forgot to mention him.
I don't know who he's talking about.
Yeah, he doesn't attach names. That shit is crazy.
I don't know what he's talking about. But in any case,
I just know. You know what I mean? He lost to me, so.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
He talking to you, LB.
Yeah. Rob, you have to be careful what you wish for.
Just
Hey, listen.
let them know what it is,
You,
and just
you have to be careful what you wish for. I mean, when it comes to the
Listen.
playoffs, let's be honest.
I need the big tickets, man.
I get you. I got you. But when it comes to the playoffs, let's be honest. You haven't not fared well. In any case.
Right.
all right,
Working on
here
that.
you go.
Yeah. So
All right.
SFL, we're in season 4. I know, at this point for a lot of owners, it's tiring. But hey, hang in there. We finished up season 4. Looks like season 5 is greenlit. If you want to explore some things, hit some people up and see if they'll help you. I mean, there are some things I'm willing to share. I'm not going to give away everything, especially the people that I have to play.
I just sent you a message.
But the people I have to play, they're good owners. I mean, again, as you said earlier, Austin has improved tremendously, and I actually told Demi after the first game in season 1, I told him that he would win a lot of games once he got that roster straightened out, and that's what's happened. I mean, so he has actually been a great addition to the league, and I like actually being in the division with. It's a competitive division, so
That's all you can ask for. I wish I had one.
That's all you can ask for. Competitive division, iron sharpens iron. And at this point, it's been rough, but it's also been a bit rewarding because I've been able to sort of, in order to get back into this, I've had to sort of sit down and examine, what am I doing that's sort of contributing to this, to contributing to the losing, and is it just a roster issue, or is it something I'm doing, or is it a combination of both? And for me, it has been a combination of both. And so, man, it's been, this Madden cycle has been a learning experience for me in terms of Madden. And hopefully other owners can sort of get to that point where they say, okay, what am I doing that's contributing to my frustration? In any case, it's been a great show. We are out. See y'all on the gridiron.